Have you ever stood in front of the Great Pyramid of Giza and wondered how ancient people moved 2 million-ton limestone blocks with nothing but copper tools and wooden ramps? Or looked at the intricate stone cutting at Pumapunku in Bolivia and asked yourself how pre-Columbian civilizations achieved laser-like precision without modern machinery? What if I told you that everything we think we know about the timeline of human civilization might be completely wrong? Tonight we're diving into one of the most controversial questions in archaeology and history. The evidence is mounting from sites around the world that suggest our ancestors were far more advanced than we give them credit for. And some of this evidence points to civilizations that existed thousands of years before we thought complex societies were even possible. I'm going to walk you through discoveries that mainstream archaeology struggles to explain. Ancient structures that defy conventional dating methods. Technologies that shouldn't exist according to our current understanding of human development. And archaeological sites that keep pushing back the timeline of when humans first built monumental architecture. But before we go any further, let me be clear about what we're dealing with here. This isn't just about moving a few dates around on a timeline. If civilization is older than we think, it means our entire understanding of human history needs to be rewritten. It means there were advanced societies building incredible structures while mainstream history tells us humans were still living in caves and hunting with stone spears. The story begins in Turkey at a site called Göbekli Tepe. When German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt first uncovered these massive stone pillars in the 1990s, the archaeological community was stunned. Here was a complex ceremonial cytocate carvings and with interred massive stone circles that required sophisticated planning and organization to build. The shocking part, it was constructed around 9,600 BCE, making it older than Stonehenge by about 6,000 years and predating the supposed invention of agriculture by at least 1,000 years. Think about what this means. According to everything we thought we knew about human development, people in 9,600 BCE were supposed to be nomadic hunter-gatherers living in small bands. They weren't supposed to have the social organization, the specialized skills, or the surplus resources needed to construct massive stone temples. Yet here was undeniable proof that they did exactly that. But Göbekli Tepe is just the beginning. As we look around the world, we find more and more sites that don't fit the conventional timeline. In Egypt, the Great Sphinx shows signs of water erosion that could only have been caused by heavy rainfall. The problem is that the Sahara region hasn't experienced that kind of rainfall for over 10,000 years. This suggests the Sphinx might be far older than the traditionally accepted date of 2,500 BCE. The precision of ancient stonework presents another puzzle that keeps archaeologists awake at night. At Sacsayhuamán in Peru, massive stone blocks weighing hundreds of tons are fitted together so perfectly that you can't slide a knife blade between them. No more used, yet or was these structures have survived earthquakes that toppled Spanish colonial buildings. The Inca, who are credited with building these walls, claimed they inherited them from an earlier civilization they called the Viracocha people. Similar precision appears at sites across the globe. The temple complex at Baalbek in Lebanon contains the largest cut stones ever quarried by humans. The famous Trilithon consists of 3 limestone blocks, each weighing approximately 800 tons. Even with modern cranes and machinery, moving stones of this size would be an enormous challenge. How did ancient people accomplish this feat supposedly using only primitive tools? The questions multiply when we examine underwater archaeology. Off the coast of Japan lies Yonaguni, a massive stone structure that appears to show clear signs of human modification. Straight edges, right angles, and what look like stairs and platforms suggest this might be the remains of an ancient city. If Yonaguni is artificial, it would have been built when sea levels were much lower, before the end of the last ice age around 12,000 years ago. Similar underwater structures have been found off the coasts of India, Cuba, and the Mediterranean. These discoveries suggest that if advanced civilizations existed before the Ice Age ended, their coastal cities would now lie beneath hundreds of feet of water. We might be looking at only the mountaintops of a much larger and older human story. The conventional explanation for human development follows a neat progression. Hunter-gatherers developed agriculture around 10,000 years ago. Agriculture led to surplus food, which allowed for specialization in the development of complex societies. Writing, metallurgy, and monumental architecture followed in orderly sequence. But the archaeological record keeps producing evidence that doesn't fit this timeline. Consider the Antikythera mechanism, discovered in a Greek shipwreck from the 1st century BCE. This bronze device contains dozens of precisely crafted gears that form an analog computer capable of predicting the positions of the sun, moon, and planets decades into the future. The level of mechanical sophistication rivals clockwork from the Renaissance, yet it was created over 1,000 years earlier. Texts, ancient from around the world, describe advanced technologies and capabilities that sound almost like science fiction. The Vimanas described in Sanskrit literature are flying vehicles with detailed technical specifications. The Mahabharata describes weapons that sound remarkably like modern nuclear devices, while skeptics dismiss these as mythology. Some researchers wonder if these texts preserve memories of actual advanced technologies. The problem with challenging conventional timelines isn't just academic. Our entire understanding of human potential and development is built on the assumption that progress is linear and recent. If civilization is much older than we think, it suggests that human societies have risen and fallen multiple times throughout history. It means that advanced knowledge and technologies might have been lost and rediscovered repeatedly across millennia. What makes this possibility even more intriguing is that many ancient sites show signs of having been deliberately buried or abandoned. Göbekli Tepe wasn't destroyed by natural disaster or warfare. Someone carefully buried the entire complex under tons of earth, preserving it for future generations to discover. Why would an advanced civilization go to such lengths to hide their greatest achievements? The evidence continues to mount from every corner of the globe, challenging everything we thought we knew about when human civilization truly began. The pattern becomes even more disturbing when we realize that mainstream archaeology has a systematic problem acknowledging discoveries that don't fit established timelines. Academic careers are built on defending existing theories, and funding follows conventional wisdom. When archaeologists find evidence that contradicts accepted chronologies, they often face institutional pressure to reinterpret their findings or risk professional marginalization. Take the case of Virginia Steen McIntyre, a respected geologist who was asked to date volcanic ash layers at Hueyatlaco in Mexico. Her analysis consistently showed that stone tools found at the site were over 200,000 years old. This was impossible according to accepted theories about when humans first arrived in the Americas. Instead of celebrating a groundbreaking discovery, the archaeological establishment attacked her methodology and effectively ended her career. The site remains controversial to this day, with most textbooks simply ignoring its existence. This pattern repeats across multiple disciplines. In geology, the Sphinx erosion evidence was dismissed not because the science was flawed, but because it contradicted Egyptological timelines. In underwater archaeology, sites like Yonaguni are explained away as natural formations despite clear geometric patterns that would be remarkable coincidences in nature. The academic system seems designed to preserve existing narratives rather than explore challenging new evidence. But perhaps the most compelling evidence for older civilizations comes from an unexpected source: mythology itself. When we strip away the supernatural elements from ancient myths and legends, we often find remarkably consistent stories about advanced pre-flood civilizations. The Sumerians wrote about the Anunnaki, beings who possessed advanced knowledge and taught civilization to humanity. Greek legends speak of Atlantis, a technologically advanced society that was destroyed by natural catastrophe. Hindu texts describe previous world ages where humans possessed flying vehicles and powerful weapons. These aren't just isolated stories from single cultures. Similar legends appear independently in civilizations that had no contact with each other. Australian Aboriginal Dreamtime stories speak of advanced beings who shaped the landscape in the distant past. Native American tribes across North America tell of star people who came from the sky and taught them agriculture and astronomy. African oral traditions preserve memories of advanced kingdoms that existed before great floods reshaped the continent. The consistency of these accounts across unconnected cultures suggests they might preserve actual historical memories rather than pure fantasy. If advanced civilizations did exist in the deep past, their destruction by natural catastrophes would explain both the archaeological evidence and the mythological records. The survivors would pass down stories of their lost world through oral tradition, gradually transformed into the myths and legends we know today. Climate science adds another layer to this mystery. We now know that Earth's climate has undergone dramatic shifts throughout human history. The Younger Dryas period, which ended about 11,700 years ago, saw global temperatures plummet within decades. Massive ice sheets advanced and retreated, sea levels rose and fell by hundreds of feet, and entire ecosystems were transformed. These weren't gradual changes that civilizations could adapt to over generations. They were catastrophic shifts that would have wiped out advanced societies overnight. If civilizations existed during the last ice age, when sea levels were 400 feet lower than today, their cities and infrastructure would now lie beneath the ocean. The continental shelves that were once dry land contained some of the most fertile and habitable territory on Earth. This is exactly where we would expect to find evidence of early civilizations, and it's exactly where we can't easily look. Recent advances in satellite technology and underwater exploration are beginning to change this. LIDAR surveys can peer through jungle canopies to reveal hidden structures. Ground-penetrating radar can detect buried ruins without excavation. Deep-sea submersibles can explore underwater sites that were previously inaccessible. Each new technology reveals more evidence of human activity in places and times where it supposedly didn't exist. But the implications go far beyond archaeology and history. If human civilization is much older than we think, it changes how we understand human nature itself. It suggests that our capacity for complex social organization, advanced technology, and monumental architecture stretches back much further than we imagined. It means that the rapid technological development of the last few centuries might not be unprecedented. Perhaps we're simply rediscovering capabilities that our species possessed long ago. This possibility also raises uncomfortable questions about what happened to these earlier civilizations. If they were advanced enough to build structures we struggle to replicate today, why did they disappear? Were they destroyed by natural catastrophes, warfare, or some other factor? And if advanced civilizations have risen and fallen before, what does that tell us about the stability of our own technological society? The archaeological evidence continues to accumulate, each new discovery adding weight to the argument that human civilization has much deeper roots than conventional timelines suggest. From Göbekli Tepe to the underwater ruins off Japan, from the precision stonework of Sacsayhuamán to the mysterious Antikythera mechanism, the evidence keeps pointing in the same direction. Human civilization may have roots that stretch back much further than our textbooks dare to admit. We've seen how academic institutions resist discoveries that challenge established timelines, how consistent global mythologies might preserve actual historical memories, and how dramatic climate changes could have erased advanced societies from the archaeological record. The question isn't whether we have all the answers. We don't. The question is whether we're brave enough to follow the evidence wherever it leads, even if it means rewriting everything we thought we knew about our past. Because if civilization is older than we think, then human potential might be far greater than we've ever imagined. And that changes everything about who we are and what we might become. What do you think? Have we been looking at human history through the wrong lens this entire time?